beloved viewer. This is yet again another exciting episode of the Youth Voice Show here on Hope Channel Uganda. And we are delighted to have you again, and we are so happy that you have always taken time to be with us here on this show, to watch on TV, to watch on the app, and also to follow on our YouTube channel. We also thank you for your different comments on our YouTube channel, the people who are always commenting and encouraging us here and there. We thank you so much for following this show. Now, this week has been Mother's Day. May 11th was Mother's Day, and this is a day dedicated to celebrating mothers, honoring mothers, and appreciating maternal bonds, and also appreciating the influence that mothers and motherly figures play in society. Just before the show started, we were all here singing, "Mother, how are you today?" In appreciation of our mothers. And so today, and on this particular episode, we are going to mainly be discussing mothers. We're going to be discussing mothers and the role they play in society, but also we are going to look at aspects of building the next generation of mothers, empowering young women, since they are going to be the next mothers. And so I want to welcome you to our conversation this evening, and thank you so much for joining us. And to help us dissect this panel and talk about our mothers and appreciate them, I am having a distinguished panel of young people. I am having two amazing gentlemen and two beautiful young ladies, future mothers for that. And on my extreme right, I have my good brother and friend, Edwin Agava. Edwin comes to us from SDA Church Emmaus, Chirinya, and he's a civil engineer. Edwin, you're welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
It had been a while.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Yes, thank you. We're glad to have you here with us. And right over there, next to Edwin, we're having my good friend and sister, Miss Mudubirwa Angela. She comes to us from SDA Church Nakawa, and she's a student of accounting at Makerere University Business School. Angela, it had been a while. Our viewers must have missed you so much.
I'm happy to be here again.
Glad to have you back. And then for his very maiden appearance, I have my very good brother and friend here, Mr. Laban Musinguzi. He's a civil engineer by training and practice. Laban, you are very much welcome to our show.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Pleasure, thank you. And then finally, here I have my very good friend, Miss Baiga Rachel. She comes to us from SDA Church Chiti, and she's a trained nurse and also a counselor. We are so happy to have you again.
Thank you so much.
Yes, so today we are talking about mothers, and we want to appreciate the role of mothers in our lives. Those mother figures, our biological mothers who gave birth to us, the mother figures who have raised us, those good teachers who have been mothers to us, and those different motherly figures that we have had our lives. What is their contribution? What role do they play? What would we have missed if we didn't have them anyway? To what extent do mothers go to sacrifice for us, to provide for us, and what role do they play in our lives? But also, these young women, how can they best prepare themselves, and how can they be empowered to become mothers tomorrow? To help us start off the conversation, I want the ladies to share, what are your perspectives on motherhood? Talk about the mother figures in your life, what has been your own experiences from your mothers and the mother figures you've had in your lives. We start with you, Rachel.
Okay, thank you very much. My perspective about motherhood, it's a blessing from God, giving you an opportunity to recreate another life, being the vessel that makes the world very beautiful with different people. And then for the mother figure, we would have been very sad if mothers weren't there, because in most cases they are the ones who spend most of the time with children. From being in their wombs, they tell them, "You're kicking me a lot, go this side," the baby goes the other side. They keep on communicating with the baby. So the friendship between the mother and the child starts from the womb, and then when the child is born, it's also another amazing story. Those different milestones of the child, most of them are experienced by mothers, because fathers, most times, they are busy looking for money, for antenatal care services. So we treasure a lot our mothers because they are always there with us. We communicate with them right from the womb until we grow up to these different ages. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel. Yes.
So personally, when tasked to talk about motherhood, motherhood is a broad aspect, because being a mother does not stop on just giving birth to a child or recreating a life, in my perspective, someone can be a mother even when they necessarily do not have a child that they have given birth to. That is why you had a host talk about some people have had mother figures in their life even when they are not their biological mothers. So personally, I've had a very great woman in my life, and I thank God because she is still with me, my mother. She is a very big inspiration to me. So mothers are sources of inspirations to very many to very many people, and to their children as well. Because this child grows up seeing that one person that they look up to, seeing that person that is teaching them each and everything they are supposed to do. So mothers play a very, very significant role. But you realize as we grow up, life gives us mothers in our lives, apart from the ones that bore us.
Yes.
Because I believe most of us, even, you can testify, our dear viewer, you can have someone who has been in your life too much to an extent that they are like a mother to you. There are people that have not experienced the love from their mothers, but they have got it elsewhere.
Yes.
Maybe they have got it at work, they have got it at the places where they work from, or at school, like in different places. So motherhood means responsibility, according to me.
Yes.
It comes with a lot of responsibility. We should attest to that, because it is not all about giving birth, like I said, but it comes with a number of things that you must do to make you a mother. Very many people give birth, but they are not mothers. Because being a mother, it is that heart to care for that child, to nurture that child and bring out the best in them. So being a mother is really a broad aspect, and we celebrate mothers this week.
Yes. Thank you. That is very inspiring, and thank you so much for sharing. Yes, let's get the male perspective. How have you been able to relate to your mothers, gentlemen? And what's such that you think you'd have missed if you didn't have mother figures or even your own biological mothers in your lives? How have you related with them? What are your perspectives on motherhood? We're going to start with you, Edwin.
Yes, thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And my mom, specifically, she's the only mother figure I've had. She's the only one I've grown up seeing as a mother. I didn't grow up in any other home apart from my mom's. And she has been very wonderful. I would not have known so many skills that I know today, that I do. It's my mom who taught me how to cook. I can cook.
So you know how to cook?
Yes.
Wow.
I can cook as good as she does. So I would not know that. There's so many people that cannot cook themselves a meal. The world today is challenging, and you must know how to cook. It's my mom who taught me how to do all the house chores and everything. She even taught me how to weave. She was weaving mats and whatever. So that's how important mothers can be. They give us these life skills, mine. And I know of several mothers out there. They give us these basic life skills that if we did not have them, we would not thrive in a challenging world today, because our world today is on what you are able to do. Sometimes we go to school, but that might not help.
Yes.
But if you can weave, you can cook. There are chefs today I've seen that are men. And I would be one if I was not a civil engineer, because I can cook from that skill that I get from school. So it's a blessing to have mothers. Yeah, in my perspective, it is a
Wonderful. Thank
big
you.
blessing.
Thank you, Edwin. And how about you, Laban?
Thank you so much. Hello to all the mothers, and we celebrate you this week. To me, mothers are not only even mothers, we have not only the biological mothers, as she has been saying, we have the stepmothers, the grandmothers, we have the single fathers who take up maternal roles.
Yes, that's good to point out.
Fathers that take up my
Oh, yes, I know some.
Yeah, and many other people.
fathers.
Yes.
But to me,
Just want to encroach on our weakness.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but to me, a personal reflection. I look back, and as a last born at home, I was shown that tenderness. But I look at mommy, but I look at mommy always coming in to bring the balance. When dad or any other at home was overly tender, mommy would come in with firmness to ensure that I'm not carried away. I'm focused.
Having
The-
a balanced life.
Yeah, then when daddy or another one is a bit stunned, then mommy would come in to comfort and those to make sure I don't feel neglected. Now, when I look back, I see someone who was so intentional in grooming me to make sure that, yes, I don't feel overly indulged or neglected. Then the other thing is how he had this value of respect for elders. An elder was an elder, regardless, 1 year older. So then also the then also the way she always wanted me to work hard. She was a very hard-working lady. She would always tell me, in this world, you have to pave your way out. You don't have to look this one. You have to have your stand as a man. Yeah, though she was
Something
a lady.
small, Edison.
Yes, Angela.
I believe we cannot talk about motherhood and we leave out the word sacrifice.
Yes.
Very true.
They are inseparable. Being a mother and sacrifice. Okay, I have not given birth personally before, but I think carrying someone in your womb for 9 months, you guys, being pregnant is hard
Very.
because all those mood swings, someone can have mood swings when they are not pregnant. Now I just imagine when you have another human being in your body and you can no longer put on those nice clothes.
know.
There are those shoes you want to put on the heels, but
you
again they
can't.
can't. You reach a moment your legs are
Feet have
swollen.
fallen.
The feet are all not fitting in the shoes. Like you live out a lot of life. There is a lot of life that you live out just for the sake of this new human being that you're bringing on earth. So motherhood and sacrifice,
Yeah.
two interconnected things.
Thank you. I will quickly share my own experiences in motherhood. So I have 3 mother figures: my biological mom, my grandmother who raised me, and then a lecturer I found at campus. Now, my own mom, I stayed with her up to the age of 11, and then from 11 years old up to about the time I went to campus, I was with my grandmother. My mother was good, though she was a little bit strict. And her strictness was in a good way because it really kept me from very many things. Now, she would not punish directly, but then I had a very strict dad. So my mother would always recommend me to dad for a good beating. Yeah, but it helped me
Constructive
to, yes,
criticism.
it helped me become a better person. She was very, very instrumental. From a young age, she realized my giftedness here, and then she was able to support and then send me away from home to a better environment with my grandmother, who then raised me, giving me the opportunity to study and all those things. My grandmother was good, but you know grandmothers are free, very tender and all that. You somehow have the leeway to do anything that you want and you get away with it. But I love the fact that she valued education. And more than anything else, you would not mess up with school. You would not mess up with schoolwork. She was very strict. She had not stepped in any single classroom, but she knew a good grade. And her definition of a good grade was being among the top 3 in class. So she would not understand anything else.
Anything less than that.
Anything else, but you have, rather than being at top 3 in
Very
class.
common.
And so all through my primary school, you'd come back from school. She can't interpret anything on your report card, but all she wants to see is have you been among the top 3. And my school, my parent school used to give plates to those who were among the top 3. You'd get a plate of like 3K. And if you don't bring the plate home, then you have not performed well. You failed. Even if you are the 4th or something like that,
No
so
plates. No
it put a love for studying in me, and I must credit all my the achievements, especially in regards to studying, to my grandmother. So when I went to campus, I found this lecture, and I was from a typical rural setting, and I get to campus, and it's a mix of cultures and very many other things, people from different backgrounds, and I had culture clash, so esteem issues, and there was this female lecturer. She's called Dr. Salimburu. I think she's out of the country now, and she became like a mother. She used to come to class and she counsels us and she talks to us, and I would open up to her, and we developed a bond which has lasted to this very day. And she now became like my educated mom. Yes, so now I share with her my career ambitions, the things I want to do and all that. And she was very, very instrumental. She was very, very instrumental. And that takes me back to saying that actually it's more than our biological mothers.
Yes.
It's those people who have been there for us, that teacher that has shown you what to do, that has played the role of more than a teacher, you know, in the African setting, we say it takes a village to raise a child. Other mother in the neighborhood, those of us who have grown up from the upcountry setting, that other mother in the neighborhood who ensured he did the right thing.
But things are changing these
Yes.
days because if you try to discipline someone's child these days, they will show you that it doesn't take a village to raise
Yes.
a child. But that should be the basis of society.
We grew up receiving a beating from people who are not our
Yes.
mothers. She finds you doing something wrong, she's
These
going to
days
punish
you
you.
try
And she will tell your mother, I punished your son because of this and that.
Should actually
the mother
don't
should
need to
add
even
it.
Yes.
explain.
Yes.
But these days, you
Yeah,
end up in the
so
courts of
so mothers are really very, very instrumental.
Yes.
Now, Angela, you've talked about motherly sacrifice. I want us to speak to how mothers shape our worldview, and what we would stand to miss. You know, like you talked about mothers being more present and available in our lives. Most of us maybe have had busy fathers who are chasing the bag, making money for our school fees and to take care of us. And you have mothers who have been present, ensuring you go to church, ensuring you're in order and all those things. How do mothers shape our worldview? Let's talk about that briefly, and we're going to start with you, Rachel.
Thank you so much. Mothers shape our worldview because, as Edwin talked about it, they teach us different skills. I personally, my dad has never taught me any skill, but
Oh my
my mother,
And they
yes,
talked about fathers who are mother figures.
yes, they
Which
teach
are-
us the different skills
Yes.
because we always go to school, but school never. Sometimes you go to school and the employment world is very tight
Yes.
that you should use your skills. But if you have a skill of cooking, like my brother Edwin, he can survive in this world even if he's not a civil engineer because he knows how to cook. Yes, and the mothers also train us to grow up morally upright.
Yes.
It's the mother who is like, you've won badly. When you're a child, they don't sit like that, they don't eat like that, they don't talk like that. If I find you when you've not greeted someone, you know,
show you that do's and the
yes.
don'ts.
When you go to church, you should greet this elder, you should greet this elder, you should greet everybody, you should not run in church. And if you dare run in church, just an eye, and you know how.
Yes.
When I go
That's
back
African
home,
mother's eye that
yes,
you know, there's power in that eye. Like, just looks
There
at
is
you and you know
power
this
in
is what
that
they want
African
me to
mother's
do.
yes. So when you go back home, you know that there is a disciplinary committee which is going to sit one person in the disciplinary committee. So our mothers really shape us into the people we are now. And as we see our generation now, this generation Z, okay, we see different people of our age bracket. We grew up with strict mothers,
Yes.
and people of our age bracket, they are becoming parents now as we are talking. So since they grew up in that strict life, my mother was restricting me from doing this, from doing that. So they end up grooming their children in a permissive way.
Yes, with
when
so much
they
freedom.
yes, the child can do anything he or she wants, and that's why you're finding that even LGBTQs
Yes.
are upcoming. They are very rampant because mothers used to tell us a boy should do like this. You are a girl, you should do like this. Yes, thank you so much.
Were our mothers wrong, especially in being so much strict on us and raising us with a kind of a hard hand? Were our mothers wrong, really? Edwin?
I would not say they were wrong in that generation.
Yes,
They were not wrong.
In that
Because,
generation.
yes, that is
in our
key.
generation.
Because when I look at myself
Yes,
and how much I'm able to overcome the different stresses and go through the difficulties, much of these I root them back to how my mom brought me up.
yes,
Yeah, but on the other side, when I see the children of these days, when you bring them up that way, they get a different result. But for me, in my generation, I wouldn't say they were wrong. They really did well. They did well in being strict with us and telling us that this is this, black and white, not trying to confuse us like the mothers of today that I see. They try to play around with kids and
But the way people are saying in our generation, maybe I'm the young one on the panel. Because they say, in our generation,
in our
which
century.
generation-
It was
which
different.
generation are you people coming from?
It was different.
I'm not a Gen Z. That's why I'm talking of the other generation.
Okay.
Yeah, but they were not
my
really.
generation is
But also, you
different.
see, our generation of mothers talked to us.
yes.
They sat us down, they talked to us, they disciplined us, they showed us what to do. We spent time with them, they were teaching us things. And then you have a generation of mothers who are raising their children on TikTok. You have the mother, a
Cartoon.
25-year-old
TikTok is
mother,
a
and her
co-parent.
3-year-old daughter, and all they're doing is a TikTok challenge. They are dancing. Mother is teaching daughter how to do a TikTok challenge.
Oh God.
And we're going to speak to that later, the kind of values that the mothers of today are putting in their children. What do you think, Brother Laban?
I think there is a problem today. In my understanding, reason. Love should not override reason.
Yes.
Yes.
So, a parent shouldn't stop punishing or correcting a child in the sense of I love my child. How will my child look at me? And that is the problem today, because now these kids are even facing you. A kid is on the phone. You know this kid is vulnerable to find misleading content on the phone, and you leave the phone with the kid, because you know when I take the phone, the kid will
The kid
cry.
is going to
Keep
cry.
quiet.
So
And you don't want to hurt
yeah, so
I have some work to do.
so at the end of the day, the mothers will lose.
Yes.
Yeah, I think even if we are in a different generation, these principles of correct, punish where necessary should not.
Please.
I think these old-time values are still needed, really. Yes.
Yeah. I think our parents understood their role as mothers. Maybe parents of today don't really get the real thing, but they understood that we are bringing up.
You people, we are going to be the parents of today.
Yeah, that's why. Sorry, and that's why we are talking about this. They understood that I need to bring up somebody who is going to be upright, somebody who is going to be
Yes.
able to discern that this is not right, this is wrong, this is. They understood what they are supposed to do, and they did that regardless of getting this thought that my child will misunderstand me or whatever. They were just doing the right thing
Yes.
because they know that is what is important for you in the future. That is what is going to make you. So, as he said, it goes beyond this fake love of saying my child is
Yes.
going to cry and whatever. You're bringing up somebody who is going to meet challenges, and they'll have to choose between what is right and wrong. So you have to look beyond that.
Well, if we are to realize, trends are changing. The trends where our parents grew up from are not the same. But by that, I do not mean that we should underestimate the power of those values or the principles that our parents were raised up from. You find that our parents would keep alluding to their parents. You people are even joking. My mother would give me a severe beating, but I'm here, I'm helping you, I'm even speaking to you. Our parent would not speak to you. So I have a feeling that those parents had principles that were carried on from their parents. They grew up seeing something good. They grew up seeing a certain value that was passed on to them by their parents. And they would want their children to be better as well. But now in this generation, where a child, most of our parents have also not done a very good job in raising their children. Some mothers have not been good examples to their children, even our age mates as I speak. So you find someone who has been raised permissively, unless God helps somewhere, somehow, you do not expect them to raise their child in a proper way.
Yes, true.
Unless you have some other values, and that is where the Bible or the biblical principles come in from.
Yes.
Because when you read Proverbs chapter 22, verse 26, they tell us that if you raise a child in a certain way, they will follow that path till they are of old age. So if you tame your child, if you train your child to grow in a particular way, they're going to be like that. So what am I trying to say, our dear viewer? So there are those principles that are good that we should uphold. So if you look back at your life and how you were raised, what is that good thing that you would love to borrow from your parent? What is it from your mother that you feel like I should pass on this value to my daughter or to my son? But not forgetting that generations change.
Yeah.
Because the exposure that children of these days have is not the same exposure that we had or that our parents had. You find a 5-year-old with their personal phone with a TikTok account, they have an
Yes.
Instagram page, like they have everything. So how to handle this child is going to be slightly different, although the end goal is raising a responsible citizen.
Yes.
So I believe we should not forget or underestimate those various changes.
Yes. Thank you. You've talked about very important aspects of technology and also the differences that times have changed. And indeed, that's very true. And also you've said that some of these principles shouldn't change. Now, these are principles and values that have been there for hundreds of years. And somehow they are tested, they are proven, and they have worked.
By our forefathers.
Yes. But you have this TikTok generation and all that. And I think it's a big problem for our children. When we grew up, you would find a class of like 60 children, and maybe only one has eye issues, aspects of maybe short-sightedness,
Yes.
myopia, those things.
Sure.
But then today you teach a class of 60, and nearly half the class,
Yes.
kids have eye issues. I'm like, what has changed? What has gone wrong? What is not happening? How are these children being fed? You know, and so it's a serious challenge. And so we are going to take a short break, and when we come back from the break, we're going to be speaking more to aspects of how current women can be molded and nurtured to become better mothers for today and even tomorrow. We take a quick break and we return shortly. Yes, welcome back from that very short break. And this is the Youth Voice Show here on Hope Channel Uganda. Remember, you can catch up with the conversation on the Hope Channel Uganda YouTube, and also on the Hope Channel app, and also on television on your different providers. You can be able to follow the conversation and watch and share your comments, and also recommend this show to your colleagues. We are so happy that you have joined us, and we have been talking about motherhood and Mother's Day, since this is Mother's Week, and we have been talking about our generation of mothers, the role that they play, the sacrifice, the extent to which they went to discipline us, to instill values in us, to educate us, and to mold us into the people that we have come to be. Now, in this other second segment of our show, I want us to look at the current gaps in motherhood. And we've already talked about some bit of that, the challenges that young women today face. And what has gone wrong? We're going to be looking at some aspects of that. And to start with, I want the ladies to talk about the challenges and struggles of growing into womanhood. What have you experienced, or what are your friends experiencing? The challenges and struggles of growing into responsible womanhood. We start with you, Rachel.
Oh, thank you so much. Challenges I personally have faced. There are some, let me call them memes. Someone can be like, prepared adulthood. So even becoming a woman,
Yes.
it's quite challenging because as girls, we end up becoming, they tell us that we become women the moment we start seeing our periods. Some see them at 11 years, 12 years. So you start navigating the life of menstruation, the life of fear of being raped. And when you get raped, high chances are you will get pregnant. And so here is where I find young single mothers who are as a result of rape or defilement, and navigating all those challenges of when you reach the adolescent stages, you're a woman, men are seeing you, men of your age, men of married men, every kind of man is seeing you. So you have to get that knowledge of how can I handle all this stress.
Yes.
Even in education, they discourage young women to do some courses. That one is so powerful. You won't manage the machines. So we end up getting... But we have female engineers, right? Yes, and they are navigating through the engineering world. So we get challenges of low self-esteem. By those things of being like of discouraging women are still there, and there are still very many, starting from ourselves, our parents, the circles we are in.
Don't become too powerful, you'll scare women.
Yes, and then as a young woman, I'm happy I happened to attend the Pan African Youth Congress.
Yes.
So someone can be like,
our international ambassador. She
International
went to Babcock
delegate.
in Nigeria. Yes.
"Yeah, it's sister." So you get to get that challenge to be like, now for you, you're a young woman. Now every man is going to be fearing you, is going to be scared of you. Will I manage that woman? Will I manage that girl? So from navigating the world of having periods to the world of dating, the education field, then we are approaching marriage, and so we get mothers who are depressed from all that, and they become desperate also. Now, like saying, the man won't manage you, so you end up getting pregnant anyhow for any man, being like, age is going, so let me just produce my child, and you end up getting a single mother who is not yet ready to be a parent, and life becomes hard in that way.
Interesting. Yes,
Well,
Angela.
the challenges of motherhood are many. You will agree with me, we are in a world that still has male chauvinism, I should say. It is still there, despite efforts of trying to uplift the status of a woman. The challenges that mothers face are very many. I want to begin with being a mother. Since people have been raised by parents maybe that have not done their role very well, it's not like a paper that you have a marking guide. Like there is no marking guide to motherhood, because you find someone has grown up in maybe with a father, with no mother figure, or if the mother figure was there, then the mother didn't set a good example for them. So the person does not have anyone to allude to. Like they have not seen anyone show them that this is how a mother is supposed to be. So everything is completely new, and you have to explore all those things, and you have to look for the right thing to do on your own. So look at this mother, and we have a high rate of like those teenage pregnancies. Young mothers are very many and rampant today. So this young girl who is also still a child, she is growing up, but now she is tasked with a burden of becoming a mother. She has to be a mother, a child to have unborn baby, or a child to have baby, and she is also still a child. She is still vulnerable. So what have we done in our society to help such mothers? Because they are still children, they still need the support. Meanwhile, they are also supposed to be a support system to someone else. So that is a very big challenge. So the other challenge that we've faced is irresponsibility from the men. So we have a generation of men who will not want to know when a woman is pregnant. A girl or a lady can get pregnant, and the person responsible for the pregnancy will clearly tell them,
I'm not ready to be
I'm
a
not
father.
ready to be a father. I'm still young to be a father.
Rachel
All
Kolewin
those
Twebyo.
kind of things that happen. So the fact that all these people are not taking their responsibility, it puts her life and mental health at stake.
Yes.
Because she has to work hard and be a father and a mother. I
mother
hear
at the
very
same
many people
time.
say that I love my mother because she is my father too. Like a mother has been a mother and a father figure. So that is a challenge, that gap that the men have left. So I urge all the men that are watching us, and let us be responsible men. Make sure you are that man that you would wish your daughter would get married to, by the way. You would be proud if your daughter got married to a man who is
Like you.
exactly
You
like
have them
you.
right on this panel.
We thank God.
Thank God.
So all those are challenges that people experience in motherhood. And then I've talked about the financial crisis, the financial bit of them, the struggling and trying to live in a world that is dominated. If you're to look at the rural areas, the rate of education is still a little bit low in some areas. So someone who is not exposed to education By the age of 15, 16, they are becoming someone's wife. But they're not yet ready. They are learning everything. They're still new to everything. So all those challenges are hard. And that is why we are having very many broken marriages, by the way. Because people just enter into marriage. They do not know anything. They become mothers. And someone gets trapped up with someone simply because they have become a mother to their child. Simply because you're someone's baby mama, you have no option. You end up settling for that because that is what you have. So in this week, as we celebrate mothers, let's appreciate the role that mothers play.
Yes.
It would be a injustice if I leave this show without sending shout outs to my mother because I love that woman, Mrs. Betty Ngobi. I love you so much. She has been a mother figure. She has given me a marking guide.
Amen.
She has raised me in a way that you would want your child to be raised. So I know that we can all do that. We can all borrow a leaf. You may not be raised by the best mother, but at least there is that bit that you can get. That leaf that you can borrow. No one is perfect, but at least your mother did something that you can borrow and be like, okay, my mother was not that good, but in this perspective, I really give her kudos.
Wow, that's very good. Thank you so much for sharing. Gentlemen, I want us to share our perspective and in two aspects. Number one, you've heard the challenges the young women have talked about, and somehow they are blaming us on a few things. How do we support them? How do we support them? How do we become support systems to them? But also, I also want us to speak about how does faith and spirituality come in to mold young women? You've heard of challenges like teenage pregnancy, single motherhood, divorce, being dumped by men after getting pregnant and all those. How does being faithful in terms of faith help young women to overcome these challenges? But also as men, how can we support them?
Yes, thank you so much. How can we support them? I'm one person who believes a woman is not supposed to work as a man. I know this is a bit disturbing for many of them.
Yes.
Because I believe you're not going to be a good mother if you're leaving that house at 5
And coming
back
back at
at
7.
7. When are you going to do this?
Especially those in the corporate space.
Yes. When are you going to do this?
accountants.
motherhood
Sometimes,
thing?
no, accountants, you're really bringing up accountants. No, it leaves them with no option. Like, we are left with no option but to work tirelessly because the person that is supposed to be
Let me
there
first give
is
him
not
chance
there.
to bring his point on board.
And that's where I'm coming.
Okay.
So how are we going to support them? As a man, it should be my responsibility to ensure that this woman has work to do that is going to allow her to do what?
To play her motherly
Play
roles.
her motherly roles.
Yes.
That is my responsibility as a man. So I'm going to set up some things whereby I know she's going to work. Yes, she's being effective there. She's using knowledge. Her mind is growing as she does that kind of work. But work that does not take her away from performing her motherly roles. And the problem we get with most of them, they want to do these other things that are taking them away from the motherly roles.
And maybe before we proceed, the challenge with parenting today is that most parents, and as a teacher I've seen it, that most parents think that the best way they can do their role is through providing. So you have a father or a mother who is so much at work, but as long as the child is going to call for money for a trip, they pay money for fees, they pay and everything. They think they have played their role. And so they are absent, but they are providing everything else financially.
And that's not being a mother. But why?
Yes.
Because a mother is supposed to nurture. To nurture somebody, you need time with that person.
Yes.
You need that time with them. You need to show them love and care, and they need to see it. We mistake it, as he has said, monetary. It's not just monetary.
We've seen stories of maids torturing kids, right?
Exactly. Now, a parent wakes up at 5, sends the kid to school at 5, leaves the kid comes back, they are with a maid the whole time. You come back at 9, they are already asleep. And then, so when are you nurturing them?
Well, I want to believe that everyone wants the best life for their child. So by the time someone is leaving their child for all those hours the whole day, sometimes those ladies are left with no option.
Best
So what's
life is not monitoring.
What's best life when you've lost touch and connection with your child?
I understand, but still you can't sit down and look at yourselves in the house the whole day. You can't sit down and take care of. So there has to be that striking balance.
Yes,
But
and that's
I
what
do not
Edwin is
want to
talking
believe-
about. That's what Edwin is talking
No,
about.
he's making it sound like they cry,
no,
they
no,
choose
no.
love over
I
their
have listened to
children.
him very well. He's saying yes, and it's okay. If you're in the corporate world, it's okay to climb up the corporate ladder and all that. But by the end of the day, let them not desert their role as mothers.
Surely.
As people who are nurturing these children and putting values in them. Yes.
Yes, thank you. And that's why we are losing. These generations, we have lost a lot. The character in our children are not being built. I grew up with a mom who would be home all the time, but she would do so many things. She would make uniforms for schools and she would make money. She would go to the farm and she would make money, but we would be with her at home and would feel her presence in trying to build our character. She would tell us every time that you are good at this, you are good at that, you are good at this, you are clean with this, so I'll buy you a white towel. Those things, you know.
So what solution are you giving us as young mothers and our viewers there? What should they do? Because it is becoming an issue of interest here. So what is that lady supposed to do?
That's why I said, as a man,
Yes.
I'm in charge of the home. I'm supposed to make sure there is a balance in my home. I'm going to set up something, and that's my role. I have the vision of the family. I carry it. I'm going to set up this home in such a way that the mother of the children is playing her role. And she's also developing in other aspects as well.
We equally want... we honestly don't want stay-home mamas. We don't.
Exactly.
We're not saying they should stay at home and raise the children.
Okay.
We want career women. We want
Yes.
hard-working women in the corporate space and those things. But by the end of the day, them play their role. Let nothing come in between the family. The family is number one. Children are number one. So if I have something else and then I have a sick child, I know that the sick child wants my attention. Or it's my child's visitation at school, or I know that I have to be available and things like that. Yes.
Yes, I think there is no way. The problem is when we are grooming girl child, we try to separate the sexes, the gender, and we can never have the equality we want. The men, it must be a macho grooming, as in the boys should be groomed together with the girls, teaching
I
them.
agree with you.
Yes, teaching them respect for girls, teaching the girls their worth. So we can reach there. But also in my engineering field, the civil engineering field, you find that these ladies are expected to express themselves in the same way as men, as in duties designed for men's strength. Though these we advocate for equality and what, but the limitations in their physicality and the emotions should not be ruled out. And that is so important. People in workplaces should know that these people have a limit.
Yes.
Yeah, and that will help so much. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about the aspects of faith and whatever, this is very fundamental in all things. When you look at some of the mothers that we have in the Bible, you look at Mary, the mother of Jesus. She was a God-fearing woman, and I believe that's what made her a successful mother to Jesus Christ. And that is, I don't know. This is my observation. Most women think they are not supposed to grow so much spiritually like the men. I've seen that. But I believe that a woman should be more God-fearing.
Yes.
Because this is the person that...
Yeah, I think they equally should
Of
be
course, but I
God-fearing.
hope you're trying to get what I'm
I
trying to say.
understand,
They spend much of the time with the children.
Yes. Men went to war, men went to hunt. The women remained at home.
Exactly.
Yes. And it's the same thing today. Our war and our hunting is me doing a 8 to 5 job. And the jam and all those things, and I'm not at home, I'm taking trips and all that, and you are spending time with the children.
Exactly.
So even if I know everything about spirituality as a husband, I don't have time to put this in the children.
The children, yes. You solidify in them as the priest of the home.
Yes.
We will talk about these things,
yes.
but I leave you home for you to do what? To now solidify
Implement.
them and make it practical to these children. And so that is a very important aspect. You see Elizabeth, the mother of John. She was very spiritually upright. She was very faithful, and she was able to do well. You look at the mother of Samuel. Very prayerful,
Yes.
dedicates the child to do ministry. Those are the kinds of mothers we have. And I think it is, in a challenging world today, very busy, it calls for a lot of prayer and a lot of listening to what the Spirit is telling you.
But also the other thing I wanted us to bring in is that spirituality can protect young women from some of these challenges. Aspects of teenage pregnancy and single parenthood and becoming a baby mama before you're married. If you're a spiritual person, you can be protected from some of these things.
Sure.
You will not get pregnant when you're 22 and at campus if you're faithful to your God, if you're keeping yourself in a safe space, if you're not relating beyond boundaries with boys, people of the opposite sex, you'll be protected. Can you speak more to that?
Yes, of course. The Word of God protects us.
Yes.
The psalmist says, I have hid
Your
your word in my heart that I may not do what?
Sin against
I may
you.
not sin against you. Very many single mothers we are seeing today. And I will not beat around the bush. It is as a result of what? Of lack of spirituality that we get to. Of course, there are those that are raped and whatever, but we expose ourselves so much. We have not really hidden the Word of God in our hearts to protect us from these other things that come up. So, it is to the mothers out there, to the young ladies out there, the best way you can protect yourself is to remain faithful to the Word of God, because it will protect you from so many things, and you'll be like that virtuous woman when the right time comes, if you have really protected yourself with the Word of God.
Yes, anything, Laban?
I think the faith factor goes even in the marriages.
Yes.
You know, there is always a shift when these young ladies go into the motherhood, when they are transiting. There's a shift in the faith. Many of them, faith and identity, many of them will have to adopt the styles and cultures of the other side of men. And for those who go for cross-faith marriages, they will find difficulties in which spiritual principles should I follow? Which spiritual principles should I groom my child? Because now they are two. So when they are going into there, they should consider these factors.
Yes.
Because they will cost their child grooming.
As we wrap up this conversation, I want the ladies to speak. And I want you to talk about things like surrogacy, single parenthood, divorce, feminism. What are your thoughts?
Well, actually, I want to start with the latter, feminism. Personally, I'm a lady, and I believe in empowering women so much. Women should be empowered. But there is something called radical feminism, where they have put an ideology into the ladies that they can be there without men.
Don't need men.
And this has been a very, very big mistake, and it has affected marriages. It has affected relationships. It has done a lot, because where the Bible is telling the lady to be submissive, and this radical feminist is telling the woman that you can be there without that man, you actually do not need the man. in
Make
your
your
life.
own money. And
You can make your own money and still be contented. Well, the role that men play in women's life cannot be underestimated, because they have a role that they play. But feminism is good, but there are those other side effects, those other things that come along with feminism
yes.
that have affected marriages a lot, and they have led to divorce, they have led to a lot of side effects. So what I want to see, another thing about feminism, women have been uplifted, but the men do not know how to deal with uplifted women,
Yes.
like
Yes.
empowered women.
They
We
fear
are
them.
living. We have empowered women, but like someone talked about, grooming both the boys and the girls, helping the boys realize the worth that the girls have, and so that they are in position to live with empowered women. So when a woman is empowered, she is going to know her worth, she is going to know her value, she knows what she can do, and she is going to have that respect. She is going to respect you. So when your woman is empowered, you should know how to live with an empowered woman. Support her. Your support is what she needs. In my perspective, I do not know other people's views on feminism, but I believe that men have a strong role that they play in that. So you talked about surrogacy. We are in a generation where people do not want to get pain. Like, there are few circumstances where someone opts for surrogacy because it is the only option they have. But most times it is because they do not have the time to grow the baby. They do not want those other things.
You think
that
going
come.
through labor and all that is going to make you lag behind at work and
Surrogacy, it has a diverse effects, because just imagine carrying a baby for 9 months and after they pay you and tell you, please bring my
the
baby.
mother needs to bond with the child
that's
also.
mental health.
And I believe
Something
that
small.
bond starts from, it goes
Conception.
with the 9 months.
Yes. And something small about surrogacy, I discourage it so much as a Christian, because it doesn't bring out the bond between the mother and the child from the womb. And then as a medical personnel also, there are some couples or some women there who have incompetent uteruses and their wombs can't carry babies, so they can opt for surrogacy, where they bring the woman's ovum and the man's sperm to get a baby and they put it in another woman. So I encourage it as a medical personnel and I discourage it as a Christian, because that bond is not there. Then,
And I think you only encourage it where it's medically recommended,
yes,
not because
medically
someone
recommended.
just,
No.
Just wants
Those
to
people who-
pursue their
who
career
feel-
and get things.
people who fear pain, those ones who don't have time, those ones who think that being pregnant will make them lose their
shape
nice
and-
shape, and they don't wear those fancy clothes. So surrogacy to me is not.
In other words,
recommended.
like the case, I think when I go to the Bible, the closest to surrogacy that I find in the Bible is Hagar.
Yes.
Hagar and
and yes,
Sarah. Sarah, to her, there was no option. And so they had to do that. But you can still see what happened.
It was still not God's will.
Yes.
There were repercussions to that.
Exactly. There were repercussions. There was a lot of jealousy. There was a lot of fighting. And Ishmael and Isaac and whatever, it has its
Up
challenges.
to
So
now.
Guys, your final word because of time. Wish someone a happy Mother's Day or happy Mother's Week.
I wish my mother, she's a Mugisu.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's called Navukwasi Annette. She's a good lady.
Yes.
Yeah, and also my sisters. One of them, Nwaisupis. She's a mother to be very soon.
Yes, very fast. Our time
I
is
want to wish my mother, Mrs. Justin Kalemba, a happy Mother's Day, and to all the mothers out there, the stepmothers who are being good to children they found their homes. Yes.
Yes.
I want to wish once again a happy Mother's Day to my mother, Mrs. Betty Ngovi, and another mother that life gave me, Miss Orisha Bapresi. I love you so much.
yes, happy Mother's Day, Mrs. Sarah Mate, Nyamuhanga Kulinde. Happy Mother's Day to
Emma.
my
Special
sister. May
Emma.
God keep all of you.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day to my mother in Kasese, my grandmother in Windiwujo, Nyamuhangabe Mbimbetraye. And then to Dr. Mburu Sari, my mother, surrogate mother from campus, and to the Emmaus and Silver Springs women and the Lakeside ladies. May God bless you all. It's been a pleasure having you on our show. We've been discussing mothers, and may God continue leading all the mothers out there and the young women aspiring to become mothers in future. May God lead you on your journeys. May God bless you. Till next time, for myself and the rest of the team here at Hope Channel Uganda, God bless you.